Let's go. Listen. You may have seen my reasonable doubt that I did last night. I have deleted it because I went back and reviewed it and there was so many glitches. Y'all didn't know what I was talking about. So, I want to serve y'all quality. So, we're going to redo that whole video. Rewind. All right, people. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture just to see how those incidents affect our daily lives. Listen. Jax. I am to the point that Jax is a very, very smart young lady, but she ain't got no common sense, child. She ain't got the sense the Lord gave her, and all this episode, I am just scared for Jax. I am scared. Damon seems to be showing his colors a little bit. Theo is Theoing. He is being his own ruthless behind. Sarah is out here playing games that we also need to talk about. And there might be some issues and problems in her friend group, her girlfriend group. Let's get in and let's talk about all these little different things. So, as we always do with this series, we talk about the overall plot, which is the trial, and then we go through the other subplots. Overall, this episode for me was good. It was good because we finally, not only are we introduced to the characters, we're now starting to see these characters really come out and their character come out, and they low downness starts to come out. So let's talk about the overall trial. So the first day of trial has started, and Jax and the DA are giving their their opening statements, and then they talk to the investigating officer. They talk to the forensic, the coroner who did the autopsy, and they also talked with the lady who worked with the phone company who was giving them information as to where phones were pinging. One of the things that I thought was really disturbing in listening to that is that we hear Kalisha's last breath. And that was just very heartbreaking. Everybody in the courtroom heard that, and it was very heartbreaking. Jack scored some points, particularly with the police officer, as she asked him, why was he the only suspect? Did you not talk to the husband? Why wasn't the husband considered a suspect? The husband had some issues. Were there anybody else? So if you ruled out the husband, knowing that the husband had some issues, who else have you ruled out of her life? All right. They have let me see, the prosecution brought some good points out too, but basically overall they're just starting in the trial. One of the things that's key at this point right now is the fact that Jax has the laptop, and the investigator looked through the laptop and he says, I see stuff on the laptop about Clout, but it's encoded. Get to the emails. Go through the laptop. Can't they like copy the laptop? Can't they what do you call it? Not sync, mirror or whatever, but copy all the information off on the laptop to another hard drive and then go through that information, what they have. I need for them to do that so they can go ahead and give it to the DA so they can get these daggone emails. Now let's get to these subplots. Let's talk about the friend group. So Jax and her girlfriends are going to their high school reunion. I think they're probably about 20 years removed from their high school reunion. They're getting ready to go. All of their significant others, for whatever reason, couldn't come or wouldn't be able to make it. So they all decided that they were going to go to their high school reunion by themselves. They all did that except for what's her name? You know when I do this, woman in pink. Charlene, what is her name? Let's see. Do I still have her on here? I don't have her on here. No worries. She comes in with her husband. making this big old grand entrance and stuff like that. Because like I said, she likes for people to I think I mentioned this in the third, whenever that episode when Braylon did the speech at the park, uh she gave me just while with her talking, she likes for people to see or visualize that things are going okay, but they're not. And we clearly see from the way her husband acted when they left that things are not okay. And red flag, red flag, red flag. Uh, he's giving me the impression that he's been violent with her. And she's been taking it for the sake of being in this relationship and looking good to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? It's but it's going to be something about that particular scene or that issue, because we're seeing that the friend group has within that friend group there is a level of threat towards Jax could be going to help her friend out, and the girl's husband flips out and ties her up and does all this other kind of stuff. We don't know, but they wouldn't have put this information out unless it's going to mean something later. The other thing, my disturbing thing, is Jax and Damon. I am so disturbed by this whole relationship. I am disturbed by it. I am very disturbed by it. Jax seems to be enthralled with it to the point that they're having sex. And side note, Jax, this man done gave you a little infection. You say it is yeast, but I don't believe it's yeast. I don't believe it's yeast. You know that man been locked up. And that's all I'm gonna say. Getting back to it, her and Damon are playing at a relationship is good as long as nobody knows that they're doing it. And Damon wants to be out loud with it and be out in public, but she's trying to be low key about it. Particularly, child, they done sat up there when the episode opened. I meant to say that when the episode opened, honey, they was just going doing buck nasty all on that doggone table. And that bothered her, because I know subsequently as the episode went on, you kept seeing Jax having to wipe that table down. Wipe that table down, wipe that table down. And that lets me know that she realizes that this is not right, and she doesn't want anybody to kind of find out. She has that friend that she can confide in, but she knows it's not right. She knows it's not right. It's too much for her. And Damon, like I said, he's wooing her. He's hitting that part of Jax that seduces her, compliments her, all that part of Jax that Jax feels like she needs right now. She's always running around being the strong attorney, the strong this, the da 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 da. But that part about her that she craves to be, not to be always so tough. He hits those nerves. Lewis wants to have everything set in a certain way. That is him, and I'm not saying that's good, and I'm not saying that's bad. But I think between the both of them, they're not willing to listen to each other to hear what each other needs. Lewis believes, all we need to do is do what we've been doing, and that's fine. And Jax is saying, there's some other things that I need, and you're not providing those things. I need my job, but I also need these other things. It's a whole lot. I'm not trying to get in nobody's marriage. You all that are my subscribers that are married, you understand what I'm talking about. The give and take, the give and take, the give and take. Let's keep going. So Damien gets kind of upset with Jax because Jax does not want to live out loud right now. And she explains to him, look, I'm still married. This is still new. I don't, I don't really want to hurt you, but I'm unsure about anything about how we're going to think. Damon, as far as Jax is concerned, Damon did a Lewis. He gave her an ultimatum. You made your decision. You don't want to be with me. That's not what she said, but that's what she said. Anyway, he goes home. to the garage, and you remember a couple of episodes where CJ is doing something nefarious in that for that gym. Damon decides that he wants to get in on that. Now, mind you, and I think I mentioned this in the last video before I took it down. You notice the lights and you notice the surroundings, because when the season episode 1 started, we saw Jax look like they were in the basement, and there was these lights. Those lights are prominent in that garage. So just keep in mind on that. I still say CJ may be the person that ties Jax up and shoots at her. He could be, because, like I said, whatever this deal is, it's important and it's lucrative. And I'm curious to see if this deal swings back around. And I'm curious if this deal, I want to say it right, if whatever this deal that CJ is getting into, I am wondering if it's something that's going to swing back around and have ramifications about the trial and ramifications about Brayden. So let's continue. The other subplot that we have is Sarah. Sarah's doing way too much, way too soon. And let me just go over about Miss Sarah. Now, Sarah is going over there talking to Ryan. Ryan is Kalisha's husband. And she's still talking about them. At first, she calls herself going to bribe him with the little money or something like that. And he says, the only thing I want to see Brayden do is go to jail for Kalisha's murder. And she says, Brayden is all things, but he is not a murderer. He is an adulteress, whatever she said, but he is not a murderer. And you know that, and I know that. What you want Brayden to pay for is the fact that he had an affair with your wife. Okay, Miss Sarah. Okay. Doing. So she's trying very, very hard for those emails not to get out, which is interesting. She's trying very, very hard for those emails not to get out. So she goes over to Ryan's house. When she goes over to Ryan's house, baby, did y'all see the quickness in which she dropped to her knees? Sarah, he is not Abraham. What are you doing? That woman dropped to her knees. And which, when she did it, I got tickled, and then I got mad at the same time, because I'm like, girl, what you think? Every black man wants you to perform fellatio on you, but he didn't move. But still, I was just like, girl, if you don't stop. She's still trying to bribe him about those emails. So she's trying to find whether or not he has hard copies or whether he has digital copies. She's trying to find those emails, and she's doing anything and everything that she could to get those emails. Now let's get to the last and final subplot, which is going to intersect with a little bit about Miss Sarah. But the last and final plot, you remember when I talked about earlier about that they found the laptop. Jax let Brayden know that she had the laptop, but before she did that, she had asked Brayden consistently, what did Kalisha have on you? What did Kalisha have on you? And he says, well, he finally told her, well, let me back up. There was some points happening before we got to this point. Point number one that happened is that Theo met with I think his name is John, the other attorney, the contracts attorney that works in Jax's office. He had John with him trying to sell this company quick, fast, and hurry. He had the attorney, I'm calling him because I don't think John is his name, but he had the attorney look over a contract, but he's putting it to him. Again, you remember how I told you he's trying to sabotage the situation to get where he wants. So he's manipulating this lawyer. And basically he was like, we need to get this thing through. We need to get this deal through so we can sell the company, so we could, everything will be on track. And he's like, well, Braden, does he know anything about this? And he's like, well, he's very busy with the child, and I've got to keep this business afloat. So he has him to look over the contracts, and that contract is I guess it's a, I don't know if they call it a bill of sale or whatever they call it, but it's an intent to sell the company, and he's trying to get him to look over that thing. But the problem is that that attorney is not talking to Jax, so Jax doesn't know all those things that are going on. So he's looking over the contract. Braden finds out in the wind what Theo is doing, and he confronts Theo about it. And Theo tells him, look, you've had Kalisha come in here. You still love Kalisha, but Kalisha caused too many problems, and now look where we're at, because you couldn't control how you felt about Kalisha. And he manipulated Braden, and Braden's apologizing. I'm sorry, man. I really was love her and all this other stuff. So he's apologized to Braden, but Theo is still working on trying to get that company sold out from under Braden's nose. Braden tells Jax. Jax tells him about the laptop, and she asked him again, what does she have on you? We find out that Theo inflated the worth of the company to investors. So the company is really not worth $1 billion. It's probably worth half that. But he inflated the books and things like that to give the, I guess on paper, that it looks like it's worth more than that. So that means the documents that Kalisha has is very, very important. Very, very important. And I need for that private investigator or someone in that office that understands financial records to look over those records and see what's going on. That still puts Theo in the head of everything. He went up in my meter really, really quickly, simply because Theo is the one that had the vested interest. Theo wanted that sale. He knew that Braden was in love with Kalisha, and that Kalisha could undermine or destroy the sale of this company. So look how it works out. If he kills Kalisha, he can frame Braden for the murder, because Braden's stupid. He's just running around going everywhere, thinking he has more power than actually he does. He can frame Braden for the murder, and then he can get all the money. And also, I still think that he is sweet on Braden's wife. And I think he thinks, I can get the company, I can get rid of Braden, and I can get his wife. So Theo still is very, very high on my list of causing havoc and confusion around here, or the murderer of Kalisha. And he could have been the one that shoot Jax, because Jax finds that information out. All right, let's continue to move on. Let's go back to Miss Sarah. Now, Miss Sarah went over to Ryan's house and did all what she did. We also found out about Ryan is that around the time we found some back information about him, and him having the ability to be explosive, and him having the ability to harm Kalisha. One of the things is that he has some he suffers, I guess, from depression and anxiety, because he had to have a 5150 hold, and that's a psychiatric hold, a 24 to 48 hour psychiatric hold. So he has the ability to get Buck, but he said he didn't, and plus he had documentation to show that he was someplace else. So I don't believe that he killed Kalisha at all, and I don't even believe that he did anything to Jax. But they have to show that there's somebody else that could have done it. All right, people, listen. A lot of stuff going on. In my last little part before I go into my closing is, Miss Sarah comes home from over there with Ryan doing all her stuff with her with her mouth and her breath all stank. Braden is waiting up for her. She's like, "Oh, hey, I didn't think that you were up and all this other stuff." And as the scene dimmed to black, he says, Braden confronted Sarah about where she was and her whereabouts, where she, what is she doing? And it fades to black. All right, we've come to the part of the episode where we go over these little things. Jax, who shot you, boo? Listen, so last week's episode was basically flashbacks about how Jax met Damon. So who I have Damon put on my list as for episode 6. I added him. And I also re-added Sarah. I still believe it's between Sarah and Theo, but I wanted to add Damon because he wants Jax completely, even to the point where he will get down in the gutter. He will do whatever he needs to do. He gives me, if I can't have her, nobody else can have her. We've got Sarah. Sarah is doing a whole lot for a little. She is over here bribing Ryan with money and fellatio. She is running around here trying to find these emails that she sent to Kalisha. So she's trying to see if Ryan has the recording or does Ryan have I don't even know if she knows if Ryan has the laptop or not. But I guess she is trying to find that so that she can get those emails. I'm putting Theo back in here and I'll have him placed up here. Let's see if we can just get this. I will have Theo placed back up here, child, because Theo also is doing, but his motivation is to stay rich. I could just see that as his motivation is to stay rich. So that's basically who I have. I still have Sarah and Theo in high running as to who killed Kalisha. Sarah and Theo are high on my list as to who killed Kalisha. There hasn't been anyone introduced as of yet that would give me pause to figure out who killed Kalisha. And also, too, I would like for this show to introduce a lot of characters so that we would have a bigger plethora of people to say killed Kalisha. I don't think Braden killed Kalisha. That's of now. I don't think that he killed Kalisha. He hasn't shown me, or he has not been caught in a big major lie that would make me question whether or not that he has killed Kalisha. So, what y'all think? Who y'all got? Who you think shot Jax? Who you think shot Jax? Let me know. That's my list. What's your list? Put it down there in the comments, y'all. I'd love to hear what y'all got going on. I really, truly do. All right, people, let's chop it up down in the comments. If you like what you see, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because that helps me. Help me help you to see me. Listen, this show is good, y'all. This show is good. It's moving a little slower than I'd like for it to move, but it's good. It's good. It's good. What do y'all think? Okay. Let's chop it up down in the comments. Let's chop it up down in the comments, people. Listen, love y'all. Appreciate y'all watching. And as always, bye-bye.